What's up, you guys? It's the Authentic Empress. So this is going to be a very serious and necessary conversation. Um, so as you can see in the caption, the grand plan, or rather, this hidden agenda to replace our soul, our likeness, our soul imprint. For example, your unique recipe or makeup of your gifts, your abilities, um, past life information, okay, that you hold, what you do with the experiences that you've had, okay, in this lifetime, previous lifetimes, um, with AI, with artificial intelligence, okay. So I want to use tarot for an example, right? For those of you who are, you know, avid like watchers of tarot, you can see a um, common theme going on in regard to what's being talked about, right? With that being said, it's kind of obvious the distraction of one another, or rather, small matters that seem big, but we're not necessarily addressing what's behind the small matters. And what I mean, what's behind the small matters, like when we talk about these little petty, minute conflicts and differences amongst one another, right? Those of us who are kind of in average spaces compared to what we're actually wrestling against, right? So when God has basically been giving me this message all day. Um, so I'm here to talk about it. So the scripture Ephesians 6:12 through 19, right? We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So principalities basically means high-ranking spiritual rulers or authorities in the unseen realm. Okay. The people who are puppeted, or the bodies, the vessels who are puppeted, right, to put us in conflict, or to quote unquote isolate us, or disturb our peace and distort our reality, distort our perception of self, possibly influence us to hide ourselves, to disable ourselves, to discontinue ourselves, right? These people who get used for that, oh God, give me the words. I need y'all to understand there are higher powers above the people who are puppeted, okay? Um, to keep us distracted, right? So while we're still early in the video, I'm gonna make an amazing point, right? Y'all know these videos and these advertisements about I can make any song you want to create using your voice. All you have to do is record your voice. Tell me what genre, what's the subject of the song, and I can create a song for you. If some of you guys have seen some of these ads on YouTube, right? Sometimes the ad is being spoken by an AI generated character who looks like a demon. That's intentional. Okay. The grand plan to replace your soul imprint, for example, your gifts, your abilities, whatever. So the fact that they're creating music now using AI, that's not something that we're supposed to it's something to take serious, okay? Because there's a bigger picture behind that. And it doesn't stop there. There's even this movement where they're trying to replace teachers, like real people, teachers, with technology, using AI. You know, they're already experimenting, having schools, okay, where the students will be taught by technology. The students will be taught by AI. Y'all know how there's this huge phenomenon going on with a lot of teachers quitting, okay, leaving their passions, to be an educator, okay? Y'all, what's happening is literally in our faces. It's all around us, y'all, what they're doing. And I need you to understand the potential dangers of what they're going to try and do, right? What if them traveling to space and all these different things and what's the guy name? What's the guy name? The Tesla dude? I can't even think of his name, but what if there's a bigger plan? What if with all this AI, and if we think about projections and how yeah, projections can be negative, let's think about if everything that we talk about often has a hierarchy. And I'm gonna let you know right now, not everybody is going to be able to receive what I'm about to talk about. So, and I have a feeling that even with me talking about this, I may not be able to keep it on YouTube publicly. I may not be able to. But anyway, what if eventually, y'all know how they're doing the concerts with the people who've passed on, right? Using their likeness, using their image, okay? Using their voices, you know, the imprints that they've left before they died, and hosting these concerts with people who are dead, right? Follow me, right? Okay. If there is a hierarchy of projections, okay, that go far beyond us talking about somebody projecting negativity onto us, if we talk about spiritual wickedness in high places and their projections and what that may look like, okay, we have all this information about suspicion surrounding them manipulating the weather, manipulating our environment, okay, this energy of wanting to program our minds, okay, all these different experiments and movies and everything about trying to experiment with people's minds, okay. If we associate the brain, the mind, with the computer, okay, if when using a computer, which is also a phone, there's a projection, there's a screen, it's projecting an image for us to see. When you think about religion and people's beliefs and spiritual beliefs and stuff like that, imagine the dangers of what they're possibly planning to do in order to use people's beliefs against them. What if there's a plan to one day generate a fake image of the coming of God? the coming of Jesus, right? I'm just saying, what if there's a plan to use AI, okay, to trick us about God, okay, the coming of Jesus and stuff like that. I'm sharing with y'all what what God is communicating to me, and it's gonna probably come off as cryptic, but those who have ears to hear, you'll be able to hear and process what I'm saying, or this will even confirm suspicions, okay, that you've had about this whole AI shit, okay, all the distractions using celebrities and using the music and using interpersonal conflict and differences, all these distractions, what are they trying to distract us from? And while I'm reflecting, I'm picking up these downloads, I'm hearing things like the mark of the beast and what really is that, right? What does that really mean? Okay, besides the chip thing, I don't even y'all. I don't get that it has anything to do with a fucking chip. I feel like there are things intentionally put in place, okay, to make us feel like we have the truth about something, we have the insight about something, but we actually don't have the full picture. And then also, I also heard that many of us hold a piece of the puzzle um, to what's going on and the purpose. Like, what is the purpose of the Discord? What is the purpose of all of these imbalances? What is the purpose of it all? So, before I get too far in the video, I need y'all to understand it is important now more than ever to really hold fast to your identity. Like, really hold on to your authentic identity, okay? Because I'm telling you, if you pay attention, they're literally trying to, in a way, strip us from our power completely by using AI. Okay, but not this technology. It's about what's behind the technology. Okay, there's an evil behind the technology. Okay, that's the point that I'm getting to. Okay, because even the whole AI thing is an illusion. Okay, when you talk about like robots and the physical manifestation of technology, that within itself is also an illusion. You know how by now, okay, because my platform is spiritual based, by now we should know that people, places, things can be possessed by evil entities, evil spirits. Follow me, right? There's even movies about and that document like evil spirits possessing technology through like video games, um, and how video games can even serve as portals, right? The spiritual energy, okay? Because it's like all things are spiritual to an extent. Like, honestly, all things are spiritual. Like, yo, this is so crazy. Like, oh my God. God help me communicate this. Um, for example, my piece of the puzzle is authenticity, right? The importance of being yourself, okay? Being bold and courageous enough to be yourself, okay? Oh my goodness. Lord help me. If you pay attention, they're now creating literally everything that can possibly replace us, y'all. They're creating the likeness of us in dolls, okay, for people to have sex with. Some people even having full-blown relationships with, you know what I'm saying? To kind of basically get in the way of real, genuine soul unions and relationships. Okay, even if it's just strictly through their phones or their technology, or their AI generated girlfriend or boyfriend through their phone or their technology. This is what is the purpose of all of this? These are the questions that we need to ask. What is all of this for? What is all of this for? To kill, steal, and destroy those of us whose souls and our identity is not only authentic, not only organic, not only pure, but influential towards God, influential towards freeing people, real freedom, okay? Real power, tapping into real power, right? Yo, dang, I'm just trying to find the best way to communicate this, y'all. Because I need you to understand there's intentional illusions to keep us from having these conversations about what's really going on, what they're really planning, to keep us from directing our intuition, our discernment towards, bigger battles, not these minute battles between, somebody wanted to make you jealous, somebody cheated on you, somebody lied to you or about you, karmic want to copycat you, your family, is a narcissist, right? Oh, Cardi B did this. Oh, Quiet on the Creek. Oh, drama. Oh, what is the purpose of all of these distractions? Even with the war, what is the purpose? Y'all know how instinctually we're naturally wired that where there's smoke, there's fire. You don't think that's going to be weaponized against us? You don't think that's being weaponized against us? Because it is. It is. And that doesn't take away it doesn't take away from the fact that people are experiencing famine, people are dying, being murdered, genocide is going on. It doesn't take away from any of that, okay? But I need you to understand, just like we have a hierarchy, like when it comes to, for example, the police department, special forces, the CIA, you know what I'm saying? And there's a hierarchy, right? You understand that's the same spiritually on earth as it is in heaven. On earth as it is in heaven. Even that statement alone is given that heaven, right, the spiritual realm is the blueprint, okay? So I need you to understand, even when scripture, regardless of your beliefs, okay, we're going to look at it symbolically. Even when scripture talks about like Satan is the ruler of this world, okay, on earth as it is in heaven, the spiritual realm is the blueprint. This is why even we have the dynamics of when your body dies, okay, your soul lives on, okay. This is why people can be possessed by things in the unseen realm, okay. Listen, I don't care if people are like skeptics. All I'm saying is just look at the world around you. Just pay attention. Explore it, study it before you rule something out. For example, like looking into or taking it serious, the information that we actually have access to help us understand what's really going on and how to really be prepared, right? So exorcisms, looking into that realm of exorcisms and seeing, like, just explore and see what information comes out, because I need you to understand, when it comes to demonic energy, okay, or evil versus divinity, evil always has to bow to divinity, always, right? So it's like they have to tell us the truth. They have to tell them themselves. Everything done in the dark has to come to the light. It's the ordinance of our life. It's the ordinance of our land. What goes up must come down. Okay? There's nighttime, but the sun is going to come up. It's going to be bright again. So it doesn't matter what people's beliefs are, what people's religions or their practices are. The world, oh my God, nature teaches us. Nature is showing us, okay? Giving us the tea, okay? Like, yo. The body. We can just look at your body, okay? For non-believers of God and stuff like that, we can look at your body, for example. The fact that humans, animals, bodies, objects can spread or transfer diseases from one carrier to the next. The fact that that's a thing, right? So if we think about the things of the unseen realm, our thoughts, okay, our spiritual energy, our senses, our emotions, things can be transferred there as well, right? Oh God, please help me get this message. It's actually a good thing to be a threat, okay, to these people who are in high places, who are, if there's a supremacy, there may be a supremacy when it comes to witchcraft and manipulation, okay? Spell word, witchcraft, manipulation, energy manipulation, basically. So when you think about anybody who's in a position of power that in this world is considered a position of power that's powerful than whatever your position is, okay, you think about their influence because of their position, what they have access to. Like, I need y'all to understand all these things are interconnected. Everything's interrelated. Nothing is separate. It's never just, oh, things just happening in the world or with our bodies. No, it's the same shit on earth as in heaven. Body as in soul. Okay? Tangible as in untangible. You know what I'm saying? Another piece of the puzzle that I even had that some of us haven't understand is when people get used to hurt us, harm us, okay, put us in a space where, you know, to set us back or even like try to set us back, okay, create problems on our path or obstacles and stuff like that. Some of us understand that it's not necessarily the person, it's more so what's inhabiting the person, what's driving the vessel, who's operating the house, who's running the house, who's running the facility, okay? Who's driving the vehicle, right? Heavy emphasis on just needing to have a higher perspective on all of this, like seeing the bigger picture of all of this shit, bro. Like, and I feel like there's this great awakening that's happening that they've been trying to delay, stagnate, okay? They've been trying to put this energy of procrastination when it comes to our fully becoming of ourselves, of our souls, of our gifts, like, you know, embodying that on earth as it is in heaven energy within ourselves, like fully embodying your soul and integrating that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like with your body, opposed to being mostly driven by your body alone or by the world. Okay? And let me tell you how serious it is. So I'm in the shower, and this is like my exfoliating like night, right? So, so God, I was thinking about this earlier in the day when I was in traffic, after work. But God just brought it back to me, and literally as I'm getting the full download, I start to feel sick out of nowhere. So there is a need. Okay. There is a need for supplication. And I'm going to tell y'all the difference between prayer and supplication, right? Because supplication is mentioned twice in Ephesians 6:12-19. So supplication means a humble, earnest, heartfelt request or plea, a sincere petition to God, right? Asking God for help, mercy, guidance, provision, protection, or intervention. Here's a great prayer for anybody to pray, okay? Father, I need your wisdom. I need your wisdom. God, I need your wisdom, right? God, I need your wisdom. Please guide my decisions. Strengthen me where I am weak. Protect me from evil and provide what I need according to your will. There is also a need to pray for utterance for those of us who have influential voices, or we're positioned to have some type of influence, okay, on anybody, okay, on a community. Okay, I don't care if this is your immediate family or your children. Pray for utterance, okay? Divine utterance, which means a word, a message, speech, divine message or teaching. Pray that God will give you the right words to speak, the right words at the right time, boldness to speak without fear, clarity in explaining the gospel. And we're about to talk about gospel as well. Confidence to proclaim God's truth, even in the face of opposition. Because oftentimes, that's when we or people back down, when they're in the face of opposition. That's when they back down from embracing their truths, embracing their authenticity, okay? Standing for something, and so they just give in, submit, okay? Bow to things that are literally put in position to pull them further away from themselves, from their freedom, pull them deeper into bondage, into some type of restriction or limitation, okay? Or rather, pull them further away from God, okay? Put them closer to a space of disabling who they're meant to be in this life. You're not just here just to be. That's a part of it, but no. Damn, all these interests and skills and natural talents and gifts that people have, like, what is it all for? It's the type of questions that we need to be asking, okay? Gospel, right? Go spell. Go spell. Gospel. No. No. So Ephesians 6:19 says, and for me, that utterance may be given unto me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel. The mystery of spells that drive us, that influence our decisions, okay? That influence our behavior, right? So, hold on one second. You think you're about to do this right now? You want to talk about this? Because you're not. I advise you to find somewhere to sit down. Don't play with me. We're not doing this. Sit down. So, going further into this whole passage, right? Because gospel is mentioned twice, right, in these series of scriptures. So, Ephesians 6 and 15, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. You know what's crazy about the word in the genre gospel? And we oftentimes associate that with like spiritual music or people singing about God, right? But all music is gospel. All music is a combination of spells that influence your behavior. So all music, all communication is gospel, not just music talking about God. Okay? And I feel this is why he specifically said, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace, the gospel of something, gospel of peace. So that means what? There can be a gospel of chaos. There can be a gospel of decay. There can be a gospel of destruction. There can be a gospel of confusion. There can be a gospel of a lot of things. But specifically, he said, prepare, right? Preparation of the gospel of peace. And why specifically is this associated with our feet, right? Because our feet control our direction, our movement, where we go. At least for that's the purpose of your feet. You know what I'm saying? Again, so even going back to how objects, not just people, places and things, houses, can be cursed, right? Can be possessed with evil, right? Even thinking about shoes, it's not really recommended to wear another person's shoes. You get what I'm saying? Or you gotta be careful with thrifting and hand-me-downs and shit. You gotta be careful, okay? Or even think about the whole, like, when you think about disease and fungus and stuff, and in shoes, you shouldn't be wearing just any kind of shoes. Think about shoes that even fuck your feet up. Just change the whole orientation of your feet, okay? Which leads to other problems in your body, right? You know, if you don't have strong feet, weak feet can literally cause problems to your glutes, which is the largest muscle on your body. Okay, it can cause problems to your lower back. A lot of people may have problems with their back if their feet are weakened. So, why does God speak through this vessel and say, stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, having on the breastplate. Okay, so we're gonna stop there. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth. What does that mean? Right? Your loins represent your lower back, your waist, your hips, your groin, your upper thighs. Basically, the stability of your body, your core. What gives your body stability? And not just that, let's think about the lower chakras. Let's think about what most people are controlled by, right? Solar plexus, sacral chakra, root chakra. So just to kind of All right, so just like anyway, so to cover the surface of those three chakras I just mentioned, for example, your solar plexus, your willpower, for example, okay, your confidence, your willpower, biggest thing, your willpower, right? Your sacral chakra, your creativity, your intuition, and your emotions, your root chakra, your security, your sense of safety, okay? You being rooted and grounded, you being able to be steadfast, not be a pushover, okay? Not easily submit to any and everything. Have a backbone, right? Be sturdy. Think about a tree and its roots in the ground. Sturdy, right? So even with that, why is the root chakra and the sacral chakra right there at your sexual organs? Why? Right? And again, think about how most people are easily driven or they lack discipline in these areas, right? When it comes to sex, lust, whatever, them willing to do any and everything for money, okay, for security, for shelter, anything like that, right? Um, People willing to do anything um, for confidence or to assert their will onto others. Um, yeah, for control and confusion around what it takes to create safety for them. A lot of distortion when it comes to that. Okay. So even with people arguing over minute things, that's a distraction within itself as well. So for example, there was somebody in the chat that and this is something that happens often too. And it's just it's even so if there's a hierarchy, a lot of times we talk about like the Freemasons when people will consider the hierarchy and actually respect it, right? Getting to what the 33 degree, for example. Let's think about us in general. Let's think about souls, think about people in general. Is there a hierarchy of people? Okay. And it's not even a matter of, oh, I'm better than this person or you're, but it has a lot to do with the nature of our soul. It has a lot to do with how we govern ourselves. Because at any moment, a person can, you know what I'm saying? A person can reach a higher ranking. A person can reach or climb up the hierarchy based on their level of discipline, their level of self-control, okay, their level of awareness, right? So it's not about the illusion of competition. That's the distraction. You know what I'm saying? So there's somebody in the chat that called themselves like fact checking something that I just said, even though I specifically said, right? This is what I said. What I said was, why did God speak through this vessel and say such and such? The person in the chat, okay, allowing themselves to be compromised and used as a distraction from the overall message, goes on to say, God didn't say that. Um, the author said that. You're missing the point here. You know what I'm saying? And this is this is the thing that if you don't increase in your social awareness when it comes to the things that have been intentionally or that are actively being programmed to keep us stunted, right? To set us back 2:44 on the clock. Arguing about nothing. Arguing about nothing, right? For the sake of this message and just to help me get through this message, and just, I'm going to read this. I'm going to read the scripture. All right. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand, stand therefore, having your loins girded about with truth, having on the breastplate of righteousness, keeping your heart in the right place. Keeping your heart in the right place. There's no difficulty, no confusion. You know what I'm saying? In regards to doing something with the sincerity of your heart, from a pure place within your heart. It's not hard. People utilize illusions, or the things that drive them utilize illusions to evade accountability, to enable behaviors or influence others to partake in certain behaviors that only stunt them, okay, that distort them, that has the potential to confuse them. It's to create a domino effect, right? So again, let's just keep the bigger picture in mind here. Damn. Having on the breastplate of righteousness. And your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith. Above all these things listed here. And here's the thing about the things that were previously listed, right? That we're supposed to get this shit in our heads. Take unto you the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, having done all to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth. Your loins being girded, it basically represents a belt, securing your pants, securing your clothes. Okay, keeping everything else you got on sturdy. Okay, creating stability around your waist. Okay, around the most vital part of your body. The part of your body, your torso, the part of your body that holds your most vital organs. Right? Having your loins girt about with truth, which is your lower back, your waist, your hips, your groin, and your upper thighs. Having on the breastplate of righteousness. Your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. So why would there not be an attack? An aggressive attack against your faith? Why would there not? Why? Why not? Why wouldn't it be? Why is faith also expressed as being the size, even if it's reduced to the size of a mustard seed? Which a mustard seed, the plant produces an abundance of mustard seeds. If you plant that mustard seed, it's going to go a plant that's going to produce an abundance of mustard seeds. Do you understand how much abundance is attached to one mustard seed? When we think about creativity and why there's such a huge attack, or this obsession with wanting to control creativity, to poison us and poison our own creativity. Why is there so much investment in that? Why? Why is there so many people who want to rap, who want to sing, who want to create, who want to draw, who want to be, who want to do this, do movies, do shows, be influenced. Why? Why? And why is there such an influx of things being created and casted that, if anything, literally is an attack on all these things mentioned in the scripture? Why? You know, the scripture that says, study to show thyself approved. And when we talk about the government and, all these, scientists, whomever, studying us, why? Why are they studying us? Why are we not studying enough? Pay attention to the codependency, to the switch from books and writing to typing, texting on your phone, typing your notes on your phone, on your computer, okay, Microsoft, whatever. Instead of reading, just using technology for all those things. Oh my God, bro. Oh my God. God help me. Oh my God. And God is helping me, but Lord, I'm trying my best to articulate this shit. And for me, that utterance may be given unto me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel. To make known the mystery of any type of spells, okay? Any degree of spells, okay? Whether that be spells of evil, spells of divinity, or ascension, but make known the mystery, discernment, revelation, intuition, paying attention, being disciplined, being focused, not being distracted by lust, not being distracted by lust for anything, okay, by any of all the things that are listed as sins, okay? We can put all those things, we can put all those things into the category of distraction from the bigger purpose here, from the bigger plan, or from the plan for somebody trying to rob you of yourself, rob you of your power, rob you of your defense system, your ability to protect yourself and others, your loved ones. There's a huge robbery going on. And one thing about it, it doesn't matter like how often people try to bait you into minute, like I literally just had the word. Let's just say senseless battles. Even with us having the phrase that's been passed down for generations of choosing your battles wisely, right? Because a lot of those battles are useless, they're pointless, they're senseless, okay? Like, it doesn't really get us anywhere, it doesn't really get us to the next phase. It's simply there to serve as an illusion, as a distraction, and that's all. Nothing more, nothing less. And this is why the illusion of any religion or no religion at all being better than the other, or spirituality being better than religion, or religion being better than spirituality, that is a fucking illusion. And this is why we find ourselves still dominantly, socially, collectively in certain karmic cycles. Okay? That's driving the wheel backwards. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to the part that says have your loins girt, girt represents a belt, right? It supports the rest of the armor. It's the first piece of the armor that's mentioned for a reason. And it helps the person it helps the wearer of it to move freely. Okay? It represents spiritual alertness, being disciplined and ready to serve a higher purpose, ready to serve highest good, ready to serve balance, ready to serve harmony or harmony generating, okay, plans, intentions, decisions, goals, aspirations, ready to serve God, ready to serve love, because God is love. You know, I was even reflecting on how isolation is used as a form of punishment, but you also have um, the reality that isolation, or we use a different word, solitude, right? Same thing, tomato, but we use solitude to describe, like, I guess the difference between solitude and isolation, according to our understanding as, humans, would be solitude is a self-governed decision. It's a self-governed choice. Isolation, we typically perceive that as something that's unwanted, something that's forced upon us. Okay, something that's manipulated to, or it's at the command or control of somebody or something outside of us. Okay, we often perceive it as some type of um, being a form of being ostracized from society or from a community, right? But when you think about the example of Jesus going to the desert to fast, right? Um, that solitude, fasting, you know, we always associate fasting with food and drink only, but it's beyond that. Sometimes you need to fast from people, places, and things. Okay? Solitude, fast, you know what I'm saying? All these words can be interchangeable, but there is a purpose for it. And the purpose is to rid yourself of anything that can distract you from being able to hear any unseen, and discern what you are hearing in the unseen. Something that's always with you everywhere you are, even when you're around people. However, when you're around certain people, places, and things, you're more likely to be overpowered or overwhelmed, overstimulated. Okay, there's more likely for you to be exposed to some type of battle, okay, a war, a debate, okay, over your attention, over your thoughts, over your perception. You get what I'm saying? Compared to you dedicating time and space to basically put you back in the energy of how you were before you entered a body, your soul, how you were. Even if we use the body as an example, how you are when you're asleep, nobody else is there. I mean, we have astral projecting and people trying to astral project you in the dream state. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just using that as an example. Okay, how you are when you're no longer alive. How you are when you're in your mother's womb, even though you're feeding and a lot of your growth depends on that entity, your mother, the host, right? Who is the host of your soul? And after we grow apart or we're no longer in our mother's womb, you don't think there's a fight for wanting to be your next host, wanting to be your host or dominate where your energy goes or what it fuels? Even when we talk about like, man, oh my God. That's why I said we have all these puzzle pieces. But it's like, what is it all for? Is what they're trying to limit, okay, our intellect from unlocking, unraveling. And why is it necessary for us to unlock it and unravel it? So we can know how to fight, what to fight against, and how. So we can be able to conquer and overcome, conquer whatever the fuck they're generating, okay, to kill, steal, and destroy us. Damn. So, for example, I use this as an example. If you're an educator, a teacher, right? And boom, for example, there somebody is put in a position of power that's above you. For example, the principal, right? Superintendent. They put let's say spiritual wickedness or principalities put one of their people in place, right? To basically override your power and come in there making new rules and shit. You know what I'm saying? To try and stunt your influence somehow. And let's say a lot of people give up. Okay, they walk away. Maybe it's necessary to walk away to an extent, but that doesn't mean that you should walk away from the passion of being an educator or teaching. What if that's a part of your sole purpose? What if there's just another way that you need to accomplish it? To basically disarm powers that try and overpower you and your uniqueness. What if even if they're put in a higher position, such as a superintendent or some shit like that, what if you are one of God's own, okay, as a teacher, as an educator in that particular school system or district or whatever? What if you're supposed to create your own education system, your own platform, your own space, okay? What if that's what it's about, right? What if you're not supposed to back down? What if you're supposed to remember that do all things with God? Okay, don't ever allow anybody outside of you to make you feel like they're more powerful than your pure desire to improve something, to help the youth, okay, to help influence better for the youth, or like them actually learning, processing information, learning necessary knowledge, right? All I'm gonna say is when people are used to push us out of communities and environments and societies or whatever and stuff like that, it's bigger than those people. It's about what's driving the people, who's operating the spell to drive these people to be puppeted, to push you out of something, to run you away. And then what happens when that doesn't work? Okay, what happens when that doesn't work, when that's proven to be unsuccessful? What happens once you understand that isolation is never punishment? It's actually an advantage for you. Okay, what happens once you tap into those things? And once you get there, what are you meant to do with that? Whatever talent or natural, okay, natural ability or something just comes easy, comes natural for you, whatever that is, you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to invest in it. It don't matter what it is. You're supposed to invest in it. Okay? Whatever passions, things that used to be like really, really passionate about before you just grew, older like in your life, and you experienced more distraction, more programming, more conditioning, whatever it is that you stopped doing or that you used to love doing, more than likely you're supposed to start that back up or continue doing that thing. So that's your creativity, like you some type of art form, if that's some type of journaling, whatever it is, more than likely that's something that you're supposed to be doing. That's something that you're supposed to reconnect with, regenerate. Okay? Because there's I don't know, like there's some type of power or how you're able to execute or influence change through whatever that is. So yeah, like even with this codependency that's growing on chat GPT and like AI and stuff like that, and they're pushing that so heavily on us. Oh, you need to learn these courses about AI. People are generating $1 million businesses using AI. And you don't think that has anything to do with trying to place the highest power, the most high? You don't think there's no connection there? Because there is. There, it most certainly is. Lord. I'm just being obedient and using my platform, using my voice to have to just to talk about it, just to acknowledge it. It's not even a matter of me having like the full story, but at least like just starting some type of ripple effect for it to be talked about more, for it to be investigated more by us and by our gifts and by our insights, opposed to this indirect control or manipulation to direct our investigative instincts and our intuitive abilities towards drama, like pointless drama. Okay, about somebody hating on you, somebody got a problem with what you do, what you look like. This is basic as fuck. Basic subjects that we can be using our higher minds towards, really creating social change that will create security and balance and harmony for all of us, for those who are innocent. Okay, what is it that we can tap into to get rid of homelessness? You know what I'm saying? What is it that we can tap into to get rid of how they're making everything super duper expensive? What is it? Because this energy of driving people, okay, out of comfort, out of security, out of safety, out of feeling like they don't have enough to be in a relationship, or it's creating friction within relationships that are already established. Like, what are we supposed to do with who we are? Okay, why is it important for us to stay true to ourselves? Why is it important, okay, to put on armor spiritually? Why is it necessary to put on armor in the physical realm? Why? To protect you from being killed, protect you from being wounded in the physical, like your body, to protect you from gunshots, to protect you from attacks, to protect you in battle, to make sure you can return back safely. This is why it needs to be just as emphasized when it comes to those internal things, when it comes to your soul, your mind, your emotions, your heart, your sight. Guard your hearing, guard your seeing, guard your heart. Why? Why is the example of armor even used? And you really have to ask yourself, like, these people who want people to just completely exclude the Bible or spiritual text or the concept altogether, while lacking the intelligence, okay, the critical thinking, the um, analytical ability to even see it through symbolic measures. You get what I'm saying? Like, to actually process this shit on some genius ass shit. Like, why is there a desperation for people to try and convince you to just toss it all out altogether? Really ask yourself, why would evil want you to know or even have access to a certain arrangement of words that actually identifies the evil itself, okay, and also identifies the dynamics of it, the purpose of it, and then in our lives, in our own personal lives, we have proof, we have evidence of these things that are, oh my God. Whether everything in the Bible is true or not, whether everything in whatever spiritual text or anything that's written, anything that's presented to us is true or not, that's why discernment is also emphasized. That's why praying always is emphasized. That's why testing the spirit is emphasized. That's why studying is emphasized. Studying is not just meant for you to learn a trade. Studying is not just meant for you to learn how to become a doctor. Okay, to learn financial literacy. No, no. My goodness, bro. And that's the thing. Don't write something completely off because of what another motherfucker said, bro. Study for yourself. See for yourself. Seek for yourself. Seek and ye shall find. Okay? Ask and you shall receive. Damn, if you're confused about something, if you're not sure about something, if you're doubting something, bro, examine what has put you in a position to even doubt those things. I got a freaking hair oil in my eye. But examine the very things that make you feel like God isn't real or the Bible is BS. Like, examine what has put you in that place to even feel that way. And obviously the violence in the world, okay, the abuse, okay, the assault, the harm, the the evil, the extreme imbalance, the extreme apathy that's in some people, okay? And why is there like such a push, like, why is there such a push to change who you are or modify who you are according to what a group or a community or a collective of individuals are saying, what they're making cool, what they're putting on pedestals? Like, you have to ask yourself these questions, bro. How important are you? What's so important about you that there's a strong desire or a consistency to modify how you perceive yourself? Okay? And there's all this energy invested in getting you to perceive yourself negatively, okay? Influence you to indulge in self-destructive behaviors. Why is there so much investment in that? Why? Who are you? Who are you? Okay? What type of power? Like, what's so threatening about you? Ask yourself these things. Especially if you're somebody like you're just simply being yourself, and then there is like some type of energy like to make it seem like you being yourself is a problem. Like, ask why? Why? Right? Why? What am I truly capable of that apparently other people or other spirits see that I'm not seeing or that I'm not tapping into? You know what I'm saying? What am I already tapping into for me to be acquiring these type of responses and reactions? You get what I'm saying? But yeah, don't fall. Don't fall for this shit. Like, oh my god. When you think about deep fakes and all this shit, bro, man, look. When you think about people who are deeply insecure, you know how many people are going to like, who are already shit. It started with Photoshop and shit, but think about the people who are just going to willingly give up themselves to AI because they're insecure about somebody else. They feel insecure. They feel insecure about somebody's appearance. They feel insecure about somebody's gifts. They feel insecure about somebody's essence, somebody's identity, somebody's influence. And now, oh, I can just type what I want to be, how I want to be, how I want to be seen, what I want to look like, blah, 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 blah. Generate an image, generate a video, generate the attention that I'm so desperate for, generate anything, right? Like, it's like slowly but surely they're trying to glamour us about these things to make us more open to it. You get what I'm saying? To willingly give up, willingly give up your identity, okay, for convenience, okay, while simultaneously disabling your power. Like even with the concept of schools and stuff like that, like in the physical, it's like there's a lot depending on like what you do for work or what you choose to do for work, how you choose to live your life outside of school. You know, there's some things that people just discontinue or that we often discontinue because we're no longer in school, right? Writing, spending a significant amount of time just generating and producing your thoughts, putting your thoughts on paper, right? Shit like that. Um, really exploring your mind, doing research, right? Doing calculations. Yo, being attentive, okay? Paying the fuck attention, bro. Doom scrolling. And then I feel like this whole agenda of, for those of us who are like really powerful, like really gifted individuals, right? This whole agenda of overstimulating our nervous system with betrayals, right? You know how your cravings are connected to your emotions or your emotional state. For example, if you're craving sweets and stuff like that, that can be because you feel like there's a lack of sweetness in your life, or like people being sweet and kind to you, people being comforting to you, right? Comfort foods, how that translates in other ways. Yeah. So think about what that looks like when it comes to distracting you or adding to a lack of discipline. What does that look like? Right? So again, why does it say, stand therefore having your loins girt about with truth? This is why we need to know the truth about how these foods are disruptive to us. This is why we need to know the truth that, hey, you know, there's certain infections and diseases out there that you can be exposed to, okay, if you don't protect your loins. And not even just physical diseases and infections, but things that affect your mind, things that affect your emotions, like things that affect like your soul, bro. Having the knowledge about harvesting, energy harvesting, okay, knowing that the gut is your second brain, okay, that your womb is a portal, for example, like just all these pieces of information that we have. Why do we discover this information? What is it all for? Because what I do know, there's a lot of us. It's like it's not going to be too many more conversations about like people apparently not knowing how to be, not knowing how to act, not knowing how to love, not knowing how to be respectful, not knowing how to be considerate, not because they know how. They know how. So, for example, and I've said this like several times before, like in the past, like throughout my journey of like just exploring tarot, right? We're we're supposed to be using. We're not supposed to just be using tarot like just for the minute shit that goes on between us and just like little shit. Like I hate to put it like that. I really hate to put it like that. But if anything, for example, using tarot to investigate, to expose, to pull down the strongholds of principalities, right? Against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Even those readers who like to use their tarot to unmask or unravel celebrity drama and shit, it's almost like they have a piece of the puzzle, but not really, because what does that do for us? How does it serve us for people to use tarot to find out if somebody's gay, if somebody's DL, if this celebrity is cheating on this celebrity, and this celebrity is a karmic, or this celebrity, I don't know what's about to happen. How can you take that deeper that actually helps us from like from a bigger scope of things? How? Because you can use them you can use them to explore, to pull down strongholds. What's operating behind this celebrity? What's the purpose that this celebrity and their bullshit is supposed to serve around over the general public? Let's pull down the stronghold of this illusion of this music or whatever. Let's pull that down. Let's unravel that using tarot. Let's expose it for what it is. Okay. Oh my God. What is the purpose of this celebrity being put on a platform before us? Right? Using it for that, for example. If we see certain behaviors that influencers have, like being abusive, like to women, to men, to whomever, let's get behind that. You know what I'm saying? Like let's pull down the stronghold of that, and remove these people from position, right? With the truth. Damn. What if you tap in and you find out, damn, this person is contributing to a trafficking ring, and we got them on a pedestal just because they're making some goofy videos and shit. But this person the whole time harvesting off of us and our attention, shit, we're protecting this person the whole time. This person is a human trafficker. It's a sex trafficker. You get what I'm saying? Yo, it's so easy for humans to be distracted by shiny things. And this is why people are so vulnerable, like to forsaking themselves, like to being disabled, like or having a handler literally disabled who they're meant to be, turn them off. Okay, now we talk about a chip being in you. What if the chip is literally just somebody tricking you out your spot, tricking you out your identity, tricking you out of your clarity of self? Oh my God, bro. Disabling something about you that is the purest expression of who you are and your life for a reason. There's nothing bad about it. There's nothing harmful about it. If anything, it's derivative from love, a loving space, a loving energy, right? What if the mark of the beast is bitterness? You know what I'm saying? What if the mark of the beast is just completely disabling you from being able to contribute to harmony and balance? What if that's the mark of the beast? What if that's the mark? Right? You thinking that it's safe or it's safer for you to be an asshole. It's safer for you to stay attached to toxicity, right? What if that's the mark? Hatred of any kind, self-hatred. Because when you think about it, anybody that's spewing hate, just just because, you know what I'm saying? It's coming from somewhere. If somebody hates something that's absolutely fine, okay, it's not hurting anybody, it's not distorting anybody, it's not confusing anybody on a soul level, mental level, emotionally, physically. Anybody who hates anything that brings clarity, okay, that brings harmony to a person, that's coming from a place of self-hatred. So how do we position ourselves to create preventative measures when it comes to these same repetitive tactics and strategies that's been used on us for centuries? How do we position ourselves to articulate and to create foundations, solid foundations, where that's no longer something that gets to run rampant? You know what I'm saying? How do we minimize these things from being widespread, from constantly infecting generations or constantly infecting more and more people or masses of people? What are we meant to do with what we're armed with individually that comes natural to us? How do we position ourselves? You know what I'm saying? So consider everything that was mentioned in this video, like how we talked about solitude and fasting, why it's necessary. Okay, because even with this, the part of the scripture that says, "Stand therefore, having your loins girt about the truth." So when you identify the truth about how somebody is disruptive to your energy, disruptive to your emotions, disturbance, their disturbance in your life, you need to fast from that energy. Okay? Think about like certain things that you know are harmful to your body or has been proven to be harmful or lead to heart disease and all these type of diseases and ailments in people's bodies. Like it's the same thing with people, places, and things. It's not something that you should just overlook, keep denying the truth, because oh my God, it's going to show up. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel. You're going to feel the intentions about any and everything that you interact with. You're going to feel it, okay? And you have to be responsible. You have to be strong enough, disciplined enough, bold enough, okay, to oppose whatever that is. Even if there's people trying to convince you that, oh, that's an imaginary problem. It's not a problem. You have to honor what's been revealed to you. You have to honor what you feel. You have to honor what's been revealed to you, bro. And if you are in a space at any time about anything where you don't feel clear about what it is, pray for clarity. Pray, command. Pray that what you need to see, what you need to know is revealed to you. Yeah. So yes, enjoying life, okay, existing, that's a part of it, but it's not all of it. Because we still got chaos and stuff happening to innocent people. Okay? And I feel the greatest deception in the reality is that we have a lot more power than we credit ourselves, okay? To transmute that on a larger scale, not just within our personal lives. And we don't have to be directly in somebody's bubble or in somebody's energy field to be able to create shifts. We don't. We don't. We have access to a greater power, and we're constantly being saturated with distractions to keep us from realizing that about ourselves and about one another. You know? Yeah. And honestly, like, to each their own. But I feel like that's even why we have the scripture that says, pray for your enemies. Because enemies of God are enemies of good, enemies of harmony, enemies of balance, are anybody that does the complete opposite. Anybody that's, whatever is driving their body to do harmful things, to kill, murder, rape, destroy, whatever. What if we're truly armed with the power to cast those things down, to pull down those strongholds? What if a serial anything of evil or wickedness is a stronghold? What if there's a lot more that we can do to influence this reality opposed to just treating it as entertainment? It's sad. It's sad. We got shows like First 48, the news. What's the purpose of the news? What the fuck is the purpose of the news? What's the real purpose? You know what I'm saying? We have to stop casually just giving up our power, bro. Giving our children over to other people. Okay? Even though there's obvious alarm or you're too distracted to recognize things that you should be alerted by, things that you should be alarmed about. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, it's crazy to me. Yeah. Having a life comes with like a huge responsibility. To whom much is given, much is required. Okay? You don't obtain a lot, or you don't have something that's more of you, like it's more of just you yourself. You have a child, that don't mean you constantly looking for outlets to do less. right? To whom much is given, much is required. It can be bittersweet, it can hurt some feelings, but that's the truth. To whom much is given, much is required. There should not be so many instances of children being abducted and kidnapped. It shouldn't be. There should not be so many instances of children or anybody committing suicide. There should not be so many instances of murder. There should not be so many instances of abuse and assault and sexual assault in the home. There should not be so many instances of this. To whom much is given, much is required. There is much required of us. And this whole AI shit, it's like it's some type of lazy agenda. It's an agenda like just to make us more lazy, to disarm us, disable us, replace us. Damn. Convince us that it's better than our own selves, our own self-generating power. Through the lens of comfort, convenience. Goodness, girl. But alright, I try my best. I try my best to communicate this, y'all. And it was tough. It was definitely tough. And I feel like it is going to be like a multi-part series because it's just so like, it's so cryptic. But it's cryptic on purpose. It's cryptic on purpose. And that's the thing too, like, I feel like there's just like sometimes there's things that's downloaded into us that it is kind of hard to like articulate. And it's like we just have to be patient with ourselves, you know. And I'm definitely talking to myself. Because if I be hard on myself about anything, like, it's definitely like when it comes to how I'm information that I give to somebody else or how I'm influencing anybody. Like I can be hard on myself about that. If anything, especially like if it's connected to my faith, it's faith based. You know, I can be hard on myself. And so I want to make sure anything that I share on here, like, it's in alignment, you know? But one thing about it, you know, I'm proud of myself for even having the boldness. For real, for real. Yeah. And there's so many things, y'all. There's so many things put in place to like restrict our power, bro. And I think like it's so crazy. Like I was reading this Malcolm X speech the other day. I have a book with his speeches, and I was reading one. I didn't even get through the whole thing, but just in the first portions that I read, like it went towards this revelation that I asked God for, you know. I want to share something with y'all. Real quick. So it's just going to be a couple of sentences, right? This is not from my book. This is from another book that I was reading today that I've been, but it's relating to this whole topic. Okay. the word Pharaoh, which we know that word to be like wild, right? And if you think about animals who are in the wild, raised in the wild, okay, if you think about wild plants, um, and things like that, basically it's things that's able to grow authentically, unmanipulated by anybody else or anything else. It just can freely be, freely exist, freely grow, right? So, in the Oxford English Dictionary, the word pharaoh derives from Latin fer, meaning wild beast. In common usage, a feral creature is one who was once wild, then domesticated, and who has reverted back to a natural or untamed state once again. I postulate the feral woman as one who was once in a natural psychic state, that is, in her rightful wild mind, right? Before being programmed, before being conditioned, then later captured by whatever turn of events, thereby becoming overly domesticated and deadened to proper instincts. That's what the fuck is always actively being done to us. But why? Right? When she has opportunity to return to her original wildish nature, she too easily steps into all manner of traps and poisons. Because her cycles and protective systems have been tampered with, she is at risk in what used to be her natural wild state. No longer wary and alert, she easily becomes prey. There is a specific pattern to the loss of instinct. It is essential to study this pattern, to actually memorize it, so that we can guard the treasures of our basic natures and those of our daughters as well and sons, right? In the psychic woods, there are many leg traps made of rusted iron that lie just below the leafy green of the forest floor. Psychologically, same is true of the greater world. There are various lures to which we are susceptible, relationships, people, ventures that are tempting, but inside that good looking bait is something sharpened to a point, something that kills our spirit as soon as we bite into it. It says, if you have ever been captured, if you have ever endured a starvation of the soul, if you have ever been trapped, and especially if you have a drive to create, it is likely that you have been or are a feral being. But the whole point, okay, we must be able to see snares and enticements in advance and sidestep them. We have to redevelop insight and caution. We have to learn to veer Okay? To be able to see the right turns, you have to be able to see the wrong ones. Even with that domesticated energy, right? A wild animal now being domesticated. Something that is purest form in existence now being domesticated. Okay? Being subject to a life, a livelihood that changes them outside of their ordinance, right? In a way, it can disempower them. It makes me think about the open season movie with Boog. Okay, he was a domesticated grizzly bear, but then when he was put in the wild, like he was struggling, right? He was used to a human feeding him, and opposed to going out and catching his own food. You get what I'm saying? So in a way, that's what happens to us when it comes to being able to have like more control, be able to direct our power more efficiently. You get what I'm saying? In the world, or over these strong powers, right? Over our enemies, or the bigger enemies rather. Over conditioning, mind control, whatever. And it's like, in a way, we become agreeable with it because of certain comforts that, you know, pleasures, like simple pleasures and shit. Like it's really it's crazy. And then there's illusions around that, okay, to make it seem like people are powerful, people are who you want to be, who you want to become, or him, her, okay, because of them excessively indulging in things that are actually destroying them, things that are putting them in a space of producing and creating more destruction unnecessarily, more confusion, more distortion, more abuse, more assault, more self-abuse, more self-hatred. Okay? It's just a glamored expression of it. Literally. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm gonna end this here. But that shit is crazy to me. You got the cars that drive you, okay? They're creating cars that you don't have to drive, okay? They're creating the artists now, the people that we're gonna listen to, the music that we're gonna listen to, okay? They're sabotaging the whole concept of the music industry, the entertainment industry, by means of self-sabotage or self-sabotaging behaviors, or projecting self-sabotaging behaviors, self-sabotaging spells in the music. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as the people, the real people, they're experimenting with cloning technology. They're experimenting with AI. It's just so much. Like, you even have AI tarot readers now. Like, do we see what's going on? They're creating AI schools, AI cars, AI restaurants, AI. Like, what the fuck? There's this energy of feeding humans back to humans through the restaurants, and now they want the AI to generate the restaurants that's feeding humans back to humans. Like, what the fuck, bro? Treating us like livestock. putting us under spells to treat one another like livestock. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that person is just a nut, treating each other like we're just a nut to get off. You know what I'm saying? Like, or just a financial opportunity, just to level up. You know what I'm saying? Why? Why? Why are they so adamant on doing this, right? Why is it so important for you to break free from that and maintain that escape? Why do you get weird feelings about certain people, places, and things? Like, why? Why do you start to feel ill, make your stomach hurt, get a headache, whatever? Why? Like, why? What are we supposed to do with this shit? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And whoever this message is gonna like actually penetrate, we definitely gotta establish having like a strong backbone work, okay, and not allowing like these fiery darts that are via people, okay, and these dark manipulations, these illusions of support or the lack of support. Like, oh my God, there's going to be resistance. There's always going to be resistance to something that brings order and balance and harmony. There's going to always be resistance. Okay, like even when the body is like healing itself, like the body is sick, and the body's goal is to create order and balance and harmony. If you're infected or if you're sick, it's like what naturally happens with your body. Your body begins to resist the disease. Like you vomit. Okay, when you consume things that you're not supposed to put in your body automatically goes into this energy of resisting whatever that is to create harmony, to restore health, right? Same old shit with everything else, bro. You have to apply that to everything. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to what your emotions, what your soul, what you feel resistant to. Like, pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention to why there's a resistance. Pay attention to what about you, because sometimes it can be things that are not well about you that's resisting something that's good for you, right? It's almost like the health benefits of bitters, like bitters, teas, and herbs and stuff like that. That shit is disgusting. You know what I'm saying? But why are you resisting the taste? Why is that bitter taste so strong? It's because your body is overly acidic. Your body's at an imbalance. You get what I'm saying? This is why we have to be able to separate the wheat from the tares. And it doesn't just apply to people, it applies to all things. All things. Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. I'm definitely tired, bro. One, I guess because but this is kind of draining for me to get this message out. I'm not gonna lie, because of the resistance against me even talking about this. You know what I mean? You know. All right. Um, I'll do another video sometime in the future where I pull cards on this topic. But yeah. Alright, you guys. Thank you for those